Essential Esports announced that the average LCS player, their salary, I want you to fucking sit down for this one if you're not already. The average LCS player's salary is $410,000. $410,000. The average.
God damn, dude. What is the above average? Jesus.
Now, that's not median. So there are obviously whales like Faker and people who are pulling that average up, but that tells you that there's a lot of people making like an entry-level $100,000 as a salary.
Me.
And then keep in mind that most of the people that are playing on these teams are in team houses paying $0 for housing, $0 for food, $0 for like damn near anything. So that's just cream. It's they pay their tax and then it's cream. This is all money coming in. And they were talking.
Now I know why these out of shape, nerdy, motherfucking gamers are fucking 10 out of 10 Asian chicks.
Yes,
it all makes sense now.
It all comes together.
Hey, it all makes sense. They got their e-girls. Hey, when you're making $410,000, does it really matter?
Get it?
Does it really matter?
Get it? That's just a crazy amount of money. So if you were ever wondering what the current state of League of Legends esports is, it's fine.
They're doing okay.
They're doing okay. If they're average player
they're making NHL, they're making like professional sports salaries.
Yes.
Straight up.
Yes.
Playing League of Legends.
So that's just impressive. And so I made the joke to talk about, just how bad the average player is and stuff. It's just like, I made the joke, I should have stuck with my gold level Ziggs a little longer.
Well, it also just goes to show you that, think about how much money the top streamers are making, right? Or even like the mid to high tier streamers are making.
Oh, way more money.
Where they go, fuck a pro team.
Yeah.
I'm making so much goddamn money doing my own thing. Just imagine what they're making a year.
Yes.
If they're willing to just say, yo, fuck,
Now, in fairness,
400,000, 500,000.
Yeah. Now, in fairness, most of the players for LCS aren't ditching LCS to go stream full time. And now we probably know why. Because the average player is making $410,000 a year. They don't need to ditch shit.
No, they don't. No, they don't have to.
You're talking about a CSGO player or some shit, like a Shroud or whatever. And, they're even winning. They're not making $410,000 a year. So it makes sense for them to go fuck off and then just do their thing, right?
Yeah. I mean, there are quite a few professional League of Legends players that like dropped from TSM and dropped from
North American
TSM.
The secret sauce there.
That is the secret sauce.
It's the people who never win enough to make enough money, so they just fuck off and then go stream full time instead. That's the key. Yeah. You don't see Faker going, you know what? I'ma just hit up Twitch full time.
He doesn't need to.
He doesn't need to.
Why would you go on the grind when you can just be a god and just get paid handsomely for it?
It's just the way it goes. But yeah. It's still, we've talked about this before, but every time, and I fucking hate it, every fucking time I see or read anything about League of Legends as an esport, it makes me want to play the fucking game, and I hate it because I hate the fucking game, and I hate the people that play it, and it is just pure AIDS from top to bottom.
I actually like the game.
I hate it because when I play it, I'm angry. Yeah.
I know.
I'm just so angry. Yeah, like I turn the launcher on. I can already feel my blood pressure rising. It's got that effect. It's fucking wild. But I occasionally miss it. Now it's such a wildly different game now than it was last time I played it that it'd be like learning from scratch all over again, pretty much. But it's just such. It's. I actually, my heart rate goes up just thinking about playing that game. And not because I'm excited, but because I'm like...
Yeah, don't do it.
Don't do it.
It's not worth.
It's not worth. Unless you're one of the LCS players, in which case it's
very worth.
Very.
Hey, you want to pay me $400,000 a year? I will convert my life to League of Legends. That I can promise you.
Yes. Well, it was funny.
That I can promise you.
So Monte Cristo was the one who retweeted this, which is how I saw it in the first place. And then there was people in the thread that were like old guard League of Legends professional players that were talking about what they got paid. So it's like we paved the way for these bastards because now they're making all this money.
Back in the day they were making like 40 G's, 50 G's, and they thought they were like hot shit. They're like, hell yeah, I can buy a fucking Mazda 6. These motherfuckers here, they're like, yo, I got Lambos, bro. Like, we got $60,000 Rolexes, we got Lamborghinis, we got hot Asian chicks. We live in the life, man. We got personal trainers and coaches. We got a gym downstairs. You know, this is, you know, we got chefs. Well, we're living the dream right now.
You know,
we're living the dream.
You know what's going to be interesting to watch will be I was watching an interview. After watching The Last Dance, I got on a big, like, just watching interviews with Bulls players and stuff over the years. And, like, there was some recent stuff where they were interviewing Rodman, and he was asked what he thought about how these young players now, getting out of high school, whatever, getting out of college barely, just straight to the NBA, making $140 mil over 5 years.
So much money.
And what he thought, how he thought it changes the player's mentality versus what it was in his era in the 90s and before. And I'm interested to see if his response to this is going to be mimicked in esports as it gets bigger, and we're seeing stuff like LCS where in his era the guys, they got there and they did it, and they were, they except for Pippen, they negotiated for their best contracts, but you didn't see them hopping teams every season, or doing all this other shit. Because it's
there was a lot of loyalty, man. That was once you got in, you were in. It's almost like you were blooded in.
You got into a team. You got drafted to a team. It didn't matter if that team was shit,
sucked, or it was god tier.
You said, I'm going to stay here until I'm going to make my mark on this team, and we're going to try and make this a fucking franchise. And that's what they did. And I don't disagree. I think that players, like anything, players were more about the game of basketball,
not the money,
and not blinded as much by money, because it's like people get self-importance when they start talking about all that money, and not everyone, but people will fall victim to that shit. And I'm wondering if we'll ever see that kind of mentality leak into esports when, you know what? Now that I think about it,
dude, it's already happening.
It's already happening, and in NA, where NA. Where teams were farming talent for specifically for for personality and ad revenue and shit like that. You saw the top players get converted to entertainment talent for that exact fucking reason.
Yes.
So it's already kind of happened.
Dude, look what's happening with Mixer and Twitch. Like, we're literally seeing it now. Like, it's always sort of been happening for the last like 3 or 4 years as esports has gotten bigger. Like, for example, there's just more money in esports now because
there's just way more.
The big sponsors are now in. Pardon me. The big corporations are now in. There's just millions and millions and millions of dollars. So like when I first started in esports, it was like that picture of Jeff Bezos in his old school office, and you've got the Amazon on like the nylon fucking like shit just written out, just Amazon.com, and it was just super grungy and just bare bones and just full of passion, and it was like they didn't even know what they were sitting on and where they were going, but they were just doing it for the love of it. It was literally that, dude. I remember the first ever NASL I went to, and Twitch had a booth at NASL, and it was a tent. So it was like it was just a tent that you would see outside of like a Home Depot where somebody is selling doing a barbecue like fundraiser, and on it. I wish I had a picture. I probably do somewhere. and on it, it just says Twitch. And this was like just after, not too long after they went from Justin TV to Twitch, and Twitch was like a new thing. I'm telling you, dude, the booth. I mean, I think you were.
I wasn't at NASL.
You weren't at NASL, dude. The tent, the booth was about as big as this rug behind me, and there was just a little shitty table in there, and a couple of higher ups was there, and that was where I actually got my first raise at Twitch. So like I went there and I was talking to one of the guys, and that was when I got my first like pay increase from Twitch, just from networking and talking, and they were rewarding the people that had founded the basically the first streamers that were there. And at the time, Twitch was built off StarCraft. So Twitch was attaching itself to the StarCraft esports, because NASL was strictly a StarCraft event. It wasn't like BlizzCon or Blizzard MLG where you had like League and different things. This was just StarCraft. And the first ever Twitch was this little tiny booth. And I remember back then, like back then, a big contract, like when I had sponsors come to me, and this was like, wasn't a small streamer back then in comparison to like what Twitch was back then. I would be like top 10 viewed on the entire platform at that time, because it was so new, and having 800, 1,000, peaking at 2,000 viewers back then was like, you're the fucking shit. Now you have 2,000 viewers and you're like,
you're the fucking shits.
You're the fucking shits, right? You're like a dead streamer. You know what I mean? Like, quote unquote dead streamer. So back then, like a big contract would be like, from a sponsor would be like $12,000 a year. You know, like that's big money, like $1,000 a month, or like promote something, or, you know, we'll say that. Now, for example, and then like 2-3 years down the road, as Twitch started getting bigger and more sponsors coming in, then it was nothing. It wasn't the norm for me to sign a $30,000-$40,000 contract with a sponsor, right? So now you're making $2,000-$3,000 a month from a sponsor. Now, I mean, you know, if you're big enough, you're at 7 figures. You're mid 6 figures for some of these big streamers that are pulling in huge money, like big money. We're like tens of thousands of dollars a month. You know, a $5,000. Like, people are getting paid, dude. It's crazy. I've gotten paid. I'll just be straight up. I'll be honest with people, dude. I've gotten paid 10 grand for a day's work before. Yeah. I'm not even shitting you. Like 10. I mean, I guess, you know, 8,000 US is like 10 G's for me. I've gotten paid that much for a day's work. So, you know, imagine where we're at now. Like, the money, like a day's work to a year's work years ago is like, it's insane. So like, this $410,000 a year, this doesn't surprise me. And I guarantee you and I were going to look in 10 years from now, we're going to look back at this 410 and we're going to be like, it was nothing. It'll just be like 7 figures, 7 figures. People coming in doing a $30 million 3-year deal, or like to be a player, like not even to own a team, like now to own an esports team. Like, esports teams are worth hundreds of millions of dollars now. We're going to have like soon have our like first $1 billion esports organization in like the next 10 years. I guarantee it. So it's insane, the amount of money, and just watching it over the years. It usually takes every 3 to 5 years. It's just huge cash injects. And now that the big corporations are on board, dude, they've got endless money. And what they've realizing is they would much rather pay a top streamer $1 million, $3 million. Dude, we've seen you know, all of this Apex thing. Streamers were getting paid $1 million for a weekend to play Apex.
Yep.
Million. These aren't made up numbers, bro. This is reality, dude.
For a weekend.
Some of your favorite streamers were getting paid $1 million to play Apex for a weekend. For a weekend. But what you see is you the big highlights of what you see is streamer hits 100,000 subscribers. Like, dude, the guy's getting paid right now like $100,000 an hour playing this game. The subs is just like fuck you money. The subs is like, oh shit, let me look under. Oh, there's another $250,000. You know, I actually can't. I actually can't imagine the wire transfers from the bank.
Oh.
Like, dude, I get a Twitch paycheck, and I'm like, damn, this is a good month. You know,
yeah,
and I do well. You know, in like for me in my life, like, you know, I'm still small bananas. Like, I look at it, I'm like, man, this is a good month. You know, I've got, 4,000 subscribers. You know, you do the math. It's like, that's a big payday. I mean, you stream a lot of hours and stuff. And it's great. But then I think, just for a second, I go, wait, some of these other guys, I see this wire. These guys they're making this in a day, bro. One day. And like the wire transfers have got to be insanity every single month. So it's seeing where the money's going is crazy. The esports personalities now and influencers in the esport world, dude, they're making as much or more money than what you see on TV than some of these basketball players, these baseball players. Like, these guys are making crazy money. And the great thing about it is it isn't like your traditional type of hard work in terms of like, you know, you got to go to practice and you got to do this, you got to do that. It's like these guys are literally creating their own way of doing things, and they're making as much or more than somebody that has dedicated their lives to a craft. And these guys are literally just getting contracts to play a game for a weekend and make $1 million. It's pretty incredible. Like, it's insane. And they deserve it. They deserve it. Like, they put in the work. There's the boom. But holy shit, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it'll be fun to see. It'll be fun to see from just the esports side, for players who aren't just, you know, kind of one-off situations like a lot of the NA players have been over the years, but like the highest level competitive players. How many of them, when they're coming into the system new and fresh, how many of them are altered by the money in terms of like team loyalty, level of performance for being, you know, for playing, things of that nature, because you see it in other sports with like I was saying, where people make so much money right out of the gate. It's like, why even try? I just signed my contract. Why do I even try? You know, Michael Jordan was signing a 1-year contract every single year in the mid-late 90s. It wasn't like he was locked in for 7 years.
No.
Motherfucker showed up to work and put in his work every single fucking game.
And then he made sure he got paid for it. And at the end of the year, renegotiation time. You want me again? Pay me, bitch.
Even more money.
Yep.
But at least you fucking worked for it, right?
You worked for it. Some of these guys coming in, $100 million.
I'm done.
5-year deal. Hey, I'm just going to coast it now. I made it. I've made it. So yeah, it's crazy. The I guess like the only difference is right now, I guess if it keeps going this way, but right now as a streamer and as a professional esports player, there really isn't much of an opportunity to just cash in and then slack, because there are so many hungry kids out there that they want to take your fucking bread. And like, especially as a streamer, you can't put on you can't turn it off unless you've made your bag and you're okay with just walking away. Because the crazy thing about this is you need to be consistent. If you're not, that money will dry up, bro, and they'll spend that money on somebody else very, very fast. So, but I'm kind of with you. Give it another 5 more years, bro. These guys are gonna be making so much money out the gate. They're gonna get really good at a game. They're gonna sign a huge deal, and then that's it. That's the show.
Yeah. I wonder what contracts are gonna look like in terms of like performance clauses. I wonder what contracts are going to look like eventually to counter some of that, right? To make sure that you can't just sign and then slack off. Like there's gonna have to be like some seriously weird legalese at play there to try and like word it in such a way and have clauses for performance where you can't be just slacking off. The thing, just to not to make this any longer, not that we have anything else to talk about, but the other thing that Rodman said was, mentioned to, was players and the teams and whatnot. They're working with these top players where they're not playing every game of a season. They're playing 60 games at 82 or some shit. They're taking their off time and whatnot. They're resting to spend the money and just fucking relax and go to the spa and shit.
Yeah.
And then MJ went out in his Wizards year in his 40s and played 82 straight fucking games in his 40s. And we've got 20-year-old fucking kids, prodigies coming into the system, getting signed for $100 million plus, and they're fucking marshmallow soft, taking vacations and not showing up every day. And not only did MJ play fucking like 82 games, that motherfucker was having games, he's playing 30 plus minutes every fucking time. And then he'd leave and go work out after a fucking game. And then he'd wake up and work out again and then off to a game and nonstop. And there are people that are like, and it's because they just got the money now. So like, where's your motive? Like, so many people try and break into basketball or other sports for the money. Once they get the money,
what are you doing it for? Hopefully, for the love of the game.
That's it.
Hopefully,
the love of the fucking game.
At that point, a lot of players do it for legacy, right? So when you hear that word a lot, once a professional athlete gets so rich, then now they do it for legacy, legacy. They want to be remembered for something, and that's what drives them. But if they don't have that,
or you could be like LeBron James and not actually want to build the legacy, you just want to tell everyone that you're the greatest of all time.
Because why not?
And just avoid actually becoming the greatest of all time. Just be like, when I did that, I was the greatest of all time. And then MJ called up the producer and said, "Release the tapes." And then we got the Last Dance.
I'm the GOAT.
Fucking MJ said, "Motherfucker, come on now."